I have good news for everybody. Well, I consider this good news. I consider it good news. One of the things I want to talk about is the Autopen-In-Chief. The Autopen-In-Chief. Who's the Autopen-In-Chief? Well, I'm glad you asked. I don't even think you asked, right? I think you already know who the Autopen-In-Chief is. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk a lot about that today. And they're talking about it on Capitol Hill. And isn't it interesting that none of the Democrats are there to dispute it? None of them are there to say, it's not true. There was no Autopen. It didn't happen. Didn't happen. None of them are there. I believe what we are seeing is the total collapse of the Democrat Party. I truly believe we're seeing this. And we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it today. So if you're just tuning in, we are live right now. It is June 19th, 2025. We are live. If you would, please hit the thumbs up. And even if you're watching this on the replay to see the information I want to share with you, hit the thumbs up for me. It makes a world of difference. No matter how you're watching this, please hit the thumbs up for me. Okay. Now, before I get to some of this footage that I want to share with you about the Autopen-In-Chief, I want to read something to you. Ever since I started doing these videos and I woke up to what was happening, that's what made me start doing the videos. Part of it, because other than I believe that God was pushing me to do this. I really do. And even today, I still believe that God was pushing me to do this, even with all the evilness attacking me. And it really confirms it even more so. Well, when I first started doing it, I wanted people to be aware and I wanted people to see what I was seeing when it came to the party that I used to be a part of. I used to be a part of this party called the Democrat Party. Now, I wasn't a Democrat because I didn't support this wicked stuff that they're doing. I've always been against that wicked stuff. The only reason why I was a part of the Democrat Party is because my parents told me, and their parents told them, and their parents told them, and their parents told them. I guess it's going to go back that far, but they were always told that the Democrat Party was the party for Black people. Right after the Democrat Party lost their possession, they started convincing Black people, no, we are for you. Come back, we're for you. We'll take care of you. You don't want to go out into the big bad world. Just come stay here on this plantation. We will take care of you. And they've been doing it ever since. They've been controlling Black people ever since. Which brings me to another point. What's today, Shannon? What is today? Juneteenth. Emancipation Proclamation. What does that mean? You know what I learned about that? And I remember hearing about it in school, but they never really told the truth about it, or they never told the complete truth about it. Well, come to find out, there was slaves still in Texas. And it took a Union general to go down to Texas and tell them that they are now free, that they're free. And when the actually Black soldiers went down there first to tell them, and when the Black soldiers told them, they said, we don't believe you. We don't know that we can believe you. We don't know that we believe you. Then a white general went down there and told them. Then it started like, okay, well, maybe we can believe you. The interesting thing about all of this is that the left, they really try to act like Juneteenth is their day. The Democrats try to act like it was their day. Like this is their day. Oh yeah, for Black people. We're here for you, Black people. We're here for you. And it's another manipulation game, trying to convince people. Well, one of the things that I found out is that when they went down there and they told the Black people that were still slaves after 2 years of freedom, some of them, when they were told that, hey, you are no longer a slave, you can just walk away. You can take off those shackles and walk away. Just like some of the Black people today, you know what they did? when they realize that those shackles that they have on their hands, on their ankles, and their wrists didn't even have any locks, meaning they were free. You know what they did? Just like the black Democrats today, you tell them that there's no shackles on them, they look on the ground for locks so they can lock the shackles. Because see, black Democrats, they love being victims. They love complaining. There's a video with Whoopi Goldberg. Is it Whoopi Goldberg? Yeah, Whoopi. On The View. She's on there because they're talking about Iran and talking about Israel, and she's trying to say that the people in Iran are going through the same thing that the black people here are going through, which is a bunch of BS. Straight up BS. She's saying black people in this country are still oppressed while she's a millionaire, sitting fat. I don't even know how many millions rich she is, but she's saying that black people in this country are being oppressed while she's sitting on the Witches of the View, talking about black people, this and that, talking about white people, that and this, as if she doesn't have the freedom to do so. Complaining when she's filthy rich. Which brings me to another point. The Democrat Party is on the verge of collapsing. We've seen the Democrat Party here recently where they run out there and they're fighting for these illegal criminals. They're saying that we got to fight for them. We got to fight for them because for the Democrat Party, it is more important to fight for these illegal criminals than it is to fight for American citizens. And they're doubling down on their nonsense. Which brings me to this. The DNC is in total chaos. And they're extremely desperate for cash. Y'all can see it right there. They're desperate for cash. Now, this is the same DNC that just had $2 billion that they put in Kamala Harris's campaign. And see, after Kamala Harris's campaign, the big donors were asking, well, what did y'all spend the money on? I mean, I gave you millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you can't even tell me what happened to the money? You're not even being responsible about it? So now the DNC, because of all of their wasteful spending, they're in trouble. And you know another reason why I think that the DNC is in trouble? Because President Trump came back into office this time and he hit them where it really hurts. USAID, these other organizations that were funneling money to the DNC. This is why they were so upset. See, when I first saw them protesting against President Trump, against Elon Musk with Doge, when I first saw them doing that, I'm like, why are they protesting against them if all that they're doing is getting rid of waste and fraud? But the DNC itself is nothing but fraud. And of course, it's waste. 100%. So let me read some of this to you about your DNC. According to recent news reports, the DNC is currently facing financial challenges and has even discussed the possibility of needing to borrow money to maintain its operation. Give us money because no one is donating to them. Like I just said, you have politicians right now, Democrat politicians that are going to courthouses, going to ICE facilities, fighting for non-American citizens. These Democrats are doubling down on it. Why would anybody in their right mind pour money into an organization that don't even care about them? And they're showing you that they don't care. That's what's really miraculous about all of this. They're showing you that they don't care about you. But give me your money because I'm not going to help you. Give me your money so we can stay in power. See, it's all about them retaining power because they're drunk on it. That's all that they want. They want to stay in power. DNC officials have held private discussions about potentially needing to tap into a line of credit to keep the party functionally floating, financially floating. Right? This is what they're saying. And then it says, while the DNC spokesman noted that this is not currently their plan, they said it's not currently their plan. It says currently not their plan. The discussion highlighted the financial strain the party is under, meaning they're in really big doo-doo. They're in doo-doo trouble. And I'm really liking this because if this is something that absolutely crushes the Democrat Party, I'm all for it. I'm 100% for it. Fundraising from major donors has significantly slowed down, contributing to the financial problems. The party's cash reserve have also shrunk in recent months. Do you think that them not fighting for Americans might have something to do with it? Maybe just a little bit. And even though you have Stephen A. Smith, you have Chris Cuomo, you even have Bill Maher. All of them have been screaming at the rooftop saying, stop doing what you're doing. Stop it. Stop it. Do you think, I'm just kind of curious, Shannon, do you think Bill Maher is investing into the DNC right now? As much as he's a radical liberal himself, do you think that Bill Maher is investing into the DNC? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Do you think Chris Cuomo is?
No.
I don't think so. What about Stephen A. Smith? I don't think. And all of them are millionaires.
Well, I mean, they want they're literally yelling it through the tops, like you said. They're yelling for them to change their ways.
Yeah.
They're like, listen, if you don't change your ways, the party is going to go away. And they're not listening. In fact, they're doubling down.
They're doubling down
on their wokeism and their issues that do not align with the American people. Their attacks on ICE, people don't like that. Now you have them calling woe is me and crying about being taken down because you approached the Homeland Security Secretary unannounced. She didn't know who you were. And in the climate where people are getting hurt and death threats are happening to people in power, he should know better. You can't approach her that way. Yeah. And then yesterday, Schumer, when it comes to the big, beautiful bill, what does he cry about? Oh, we need abortion. We need abortion. And people are sitting here going, listen, our country is in chaos. And the reason why they voted in Trump is because they knew it was headed this way because of the policies of the Democrat Party. Now, Trump gets in and they're fighting against the change that they voted for because they saw the way it was going because of the Democrat Party. Yeah. And the Democrat Party is obstructing everything that Trump is doing with and they're not weaponizing the judicial system.
And they're not going to stop. The DNC financial situation is notably weaker than that of the Republican National Committee, which has significantly more cash on hand. They have a lot more cash on hand. Despite the financial changes or challenges, the DNC is taking steps to improve its situation, including focusing on increasing grassroots fundraising and providing more resources for state parties. Now, I think the reason why they're talking about they need to go to more grassroots fundraising, you know what that means? Grassroots fundraising. That means they need to get the people out in the country to support them more. Well, now that Act Blue is on the radar, you know what Act Blue did, right? Project Veritas exposed Act Blue. And for those of you that don't know, this is what's been reported. And actually, it looks like it appears to be true. That
USAID.
And along with USAIDs. But Act Blue, what they were doing is that they were finding out donors throughout the country. And they would find out your name. Let's say you donated to the DNC. They would find out your name, your address. Well, Act Blue, from the reporting that's coming out, or that has come out, is that they were taking your name, your address, and then they were donating money on your behalf. And these people didn't even know it was happening.
They were funneling money, fraud.
Yes. And then, of course, Project Veritas, they went to these homes asking, did you donate all of this money? And they were like, no, I did like $10 maybe a couple months ago, but no, I didn't do this $250 since then. They were showing that they were donating. Sometimes they were showing they were donating twice a day. And they were using these people's names and addresses. So they were funneling money. And all of that had come to an end. And of course, the Democrats, now they're in trouble at the DNC. Isn't it interesting? Can you make the connection that Doge showed all of the waste and fraud and exposed all of it. President Trump shut down a lot of these organizations. And now all of a sudden the DNC is in financial trouble. Can you put two and two together? Why don't they go to Kamala Harris and ask her to pay back the campaign money, the $2 billion that they squandered? $2 billion just gone, squandered. The Democrats did this to themselves. They deserve everything that's coming to them. Everything that is coming to them. The way the Democrats have done, not just me, but other conservatives, Christians throughout the country, because they were finding out people on social media, if you were a conservative Christian and you were speaking out against the demonic Democrats, and they were demonetizing people. And isn't it, do you call this karma? Would you call this karma? Now they're in financial trouble. Would you call it karma? See, they didn't want people like Will Johnson to make a living by exposing them. So they attacked me. Facebook is still won't allow people to send me Facebook stars. A single Facebook star. Facebook took it away from me. I didn't do anything wrong. All I did was talk about what the Democrats are doing in the country, around the world. That's all that I've done. I've done nothing. I've caused no criminal activity, none whatsoever. I've never threatened anybody. I've done none of that. But they've taken away all of my resources on Facebook. They've taken them all away. And they've also done the same thing on Instagram. And I don't have nothing going on Instagram. And I can only think because Meta is connected. Meta owns both Facebook and Instagram. There's the reason why they're messing with me. Well, listen to this, because just like they went after conservative Christians and Joe Biden from Joe Biden's White House also had this Autopen going on. And now they're calling it the Autopen-In-Chief. It's not the Commander-in-Chief. It was the Autopen-In-Chief. And some of the information that's coming out about this Autopen is mind-blowing. Who was actually running the country? Who was doing it? There's been reports that there was times that Joe Biden didn't even know where the restroom was in the Oval Office. How many restrooms are there in the Oval Office? Are there signs on the wall for him and her? Or is it just one, you go in there and lock the door? How many restrooms are there in the Oval Office for him not to know where it is and he's right there sitting in the Oval Office? Come on. Who was running the country? Listen to this. I'm going to play some of this. This is from yesterday, from some of this hearing about this Autopen-In-Chief.
The president's signature is itself the protection of democratic principle. When the president signs, he communicates his assent and endorsement of the action he takes. The Autopen is a device that signs the president's signature to a document. The oversight project, of which I am a board member, has discovered that the Biden White House deployed an Autopen to affix President Biden's signature to pardons, prison commutations, executive orders, and presidential proclamations. The Oversight Project's research has found that the Biden White House first deployed the Autopen to affix President Biden's signature to a proclamation on day 5 of his administration, and that there were at least 3 different Autopen signatures in use throughout President Biden's tenure in the White House. In June 2022, the Biden White House began deploying the Autopen to sign clemency warrants and executive orders. Autopen use skyrocketed from there. We found that of the 51 clemency warrants issued during the Biden presidency, over half, 32 in total, were signed with an Autopen. And these include some of the most controversial acts of clemency of the Biden presidency, including death row commutations and the preemptive pardons of members of the Biden family, Dr. Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, and more that were issued in the final days of the Biden presidency. We reviewed President Biden's schedule in his publicly available media and were unable to find any record of President Biden's personally approving these actions, such as a statement issued by the president himself to reporters. In addition, we found that the Biden White House used the Autopen to affix President Biden's signature to clemency warrants and executive orders while the president himself was in Washington, D.C. for at least some of that day, and thus was presumably available to sign important executive actions. Finally, we found multiple days where President Biden wet signed a bill into law, but used an autopen to issue an executive order or for other important executive actions. The Biden White House's widespread use of an autopen to affix President Biden's signatures to documents that exercise executive powers belonging solely to the president poses significant constitutional, legal, and practical considerations. Once the president's signature is copied and loaded into the autopen, the machine can sign documents as the president himself would. To be blunt, by using the autopen, anyone can sign documents as the president himself. Now, to be clear, I'm not here today to suggest that the autopen is bad. It's just technology. I'm here today because of questions concerning President Biden's capacity and whether the autopen was used to usurp presidential power or to conceal the president's decline. As the sitting president's mental acuity declined, potentially to the point of incapacitation, his administration's expansion of the powers of the presidency raises more questions than answers. Any investigation into this matter should focus not only on whether President Biden directed or authorized subordinate staff to take action in certain instances, but whether he had the capacity to do so at all.
Whether he had the capacity to do so at all. See, that's when it's in question. And they're having this hearing about all of this. And to my understanding, not a single Democrat was there to defend it, to defend Joe Biden using the autopen. Not a single Democrat was there to try to debunk the autopen. Because, you know, most of the time, if they can, and when they can get in front of the truth and tell the people a lie, they will do so. But none of them showed up for this hearing. None of them showed up. I mean, hello? Can you say guilty? Any other time these Democrats show up to try to push a lie to get the American people not to understand, but this is such a huge scandal. It's like none of them don't want to touch it. Like, nope. I'm not going to go in there. I'm not going to say that the autopen is fake. I'm not going to go in there and say that he didn't use the autopen. I'm not going to say that Joe Biden didn't lose his mind. I'm not going to say any of it. Because this is one of the biggest scandals in American history. Who was running the country for the past 4 years? Who was doing it? Listen to Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, he brings up information that many of us didn't know about. A lot of this, I didn't know about it. And he lays it out on when Joe Biden, when he first went in, I think it was like 78 different documents that Joe Biden signed himself by hand. And then it just started declining. The number of him signing it went down and the number of the autopen went up. Did Joe Biden know that they were even using the autopen? Has Joe Biden even heard of the autopen? Does he even remember the autopen?
Mr. Wold, you're a lawyer who served in the White House counsel's office. You understand the gravity of presidential action. Does the president's signature carry legal and constitutional weight under Article 2?
Yes.
Is the act of signing an executive order or signing a law or granting a pardon a delegable duty of the president?
So in that opinion in 2005 from OLC, they said essentially that an autopen could be used by a subordinate, but the president's determination as to sign the document can never be delegated.
Can that authority be transferred to a staffer or a machine without the president's explicit authorization?
Never.
And if you look at the statistics are stunning. In 2021, President Biden issued 78 executive orders. None were signed with an autopen. That first year of the presidency, Biden, I suppose, was relatively lucid, and 78 executive orders he signed by hand. The second year, however, we see the autopen emerge. The first autopen executive order was issued on July 15th, 2022. After that day, 100% of the executive orders issued in 2022 were signed by an autopen.
100%. How is that even possible? Where was Joe at when the auto pen was being used? If it's being used 100%, is this during the time when Joe Biden was sitting on the beach? You remember Karine Jean-Pierre was asked the question, how was he working? How was he able to do his job when he's sitting on the beach? Because he was never on the phone while he was on the beach, never had a laptop, never had any kind of device. People didn't walk up to him, nothing. Jill Biden was right there soaking up the rays with him. Nothing. He wasn't doing anything. And then after that, he got up and left and went home. Didn't do anything. And then he would show up back at the White House. And then they said, well, he doesn't get up until what, 11:30 in the afternoon because he's too tired. Then he got to go back to bed around 4:30, 5 o'clock. When did he have time to do anything? He didn't, because not him, but he was unable to do anything. So they used the auto pen for him. Did they just get him the nod? Did he even remember giving them any authority to use the auto pen? And for some of these things, the auto pen, you can't even use it, apparently.
In 2023, Biden issued 24 executive orders. 16 were auto-penned. In 2024, Biden issued 19. 14 were auto-penned. In 2025, Biden issued 14 executive orders. Every single one was auto-penned.
Wow.
Mr. Wald, let me ask you as a legal matter, if there's a law that's passed both houses of Congress and it goes to the White House, and a staffer auto-pens signing that law without the president's authorization, is that law legally passed and signed into law?
No.
If an executive order is issued and a staffer auto-pens it without the president's authorization, is that executive order legally binding?
No.
And if a pardon is issued from the president of the United States and a staffer auto-pens it without the president's authorization, is that pardon legally binding?
No.
Under the Biden White House, the ceremonial song, Hail to the Chief, was effectively replaced with Hail to the Pen. And it was an outright assault on democracy. And every reporter covering this ought to ask, why doesn't a Democrat care?
Yeah, why don't they care? Why don't they care? They don't. You know why they don't care? Because they hate Trump more. They hate Trump so much, they can care less about any corruption that's been taking place. They can care less about any crime that's taken place, as long as it means that we can get Trump. Get Trump. TDS is a real thing. I mean, it really is. TDS is a real thing.
We heard about the moral responsibilities of a staffer. How about an elected senator who knows damn well that if we get into a war and Iran is preparing to fire a nuclear weapon at the United States, that the commander-in-chief is busy playing with his Jell-O and is not competent to defend ourselves? And every member of the cabinet, the chief of staff, the press secretary, and the members of Congress who lied about this on a daily basis with the press's complicity, they are all responsible for subverting democracy.
Joe Biden was playing with his Jell-O, watching it jiggle. He's pushing it with the spoon. Because they wouldn't give him a knife or a fork, right?
I mean, I can actually see that happening.
Don't give him a knife or a fork. He might not remember how to use it. So give him a spoon. He's playing with the Jell-O. And that's 100% correct. And you know, a lot of people are talking about Ted Cruz when he went on with Tucker. Look. We can have differences, opinion about different things, especially when it comes to Israel. And I'm just bringing this up because he was on with Tucker. We can have differences, opinion, but we shouldn't be hating each other because someone decided that they want to show their support for Israel, right? So all of you that are, all of the people out there right now, they're so angry and they're not supporting, they don't want to support Israel, don't want Israel to be an ally. I'm not angry with you because you're siding with Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, AOC, Nancy Pelosi. If that's what you want to align yourself with, then why am I going to be mad at you? That's something that you have to deal with, that you're aligned with the radical leftist lunatic liberals. That's entirely up to you. I'm not mad at you. But some people get upset with me because I believe in what the word says. And I'm not going to try to interpret the word or change the word based on what somebody, because of their hatred for Israel. When the word tells us that in the last days that all of the world will come down on Israel. And people that are hating Israel right now, they're joining in with that hatred against Israel. You're joining in what the Bible said that the world would do. Does that make sense? But I'm not mad at you because you dislike a group of people because you've been told to. Or you dislike a group of people because they told you that they control all of your money, they control your way of living. You've been told all of this. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. But don't be mad at me because I want to stand in a line with our allies. I find it really interesting that a lot of people weren't doing all this same kicking and screaming when the war was happening between Ukraine and Russia. What's so special about Israel? I know the answer to that. I mean, I really do. But to get back to this other story, listen to this, because remember when Joe Biden, he wasn't capable of completing a sentence. He didn't know where he was when he was on stage. Like, which way do I go? He completely forgot that he walked up from this side of the stage. So he walks over this way, and then he puts his hand out to shake an invisible hand that no one is there. And people are looking like, what is he doing? And he's actually doing this. Like, here, shake my hand. And no one's there. And it would be one thing if he just did it one time, like, hey, buddy, how you doing? How you doing? But he did it multiple times, like, wanting to shake someone's hand. You can tell when someone is just going, hey, what's going on, versus someone, reaching out to shake their hand. You can tell the difference. Well, remember when Joe Biden was in office, they came out with this jobs report. And the Biden administration came out and said that, oh, yeah, we've created thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs. All of that was a lie. And why is it only now that the media is acknowledging it? And I'm not saying Fox News just now acknowledging. Fox News was talking about it then, but it's the radical liberal media that refuse to acknowledge it.
Administration claims to have added almost 400,000 jobs. This is from Town Hall. From July through September of last year, but new data released this week suggests none of those jobs ever existed. In stark contrast to the monthly job reports showing an increase of 399,000 jobs during the third quarter, these numbers show a decline of 1,000 private sector jobs.
1,000. A decline. A decline. I mean, what? So what happened to the 399,000 jobs? What happened to them?
They didn't exist. I mean, they were talking about private sector jobs, of course, right? What Biden was doing, and now one thing that the Trump administration has tried to be fixed, is he tried to bloat the government. In order to add jobs to the economy, he couldn't do it naturally through the private sector because his policies were not creating more jobs. So what he did was he created government jobs and say, look at all these jobs that I created. But literally, he didn't even create all those jobs. They kept having to go back and revise the job report, saying that it was far less than they had said. I mean, this was an ongoing issue in this administration. It was fraught with scandal. There's no wonders why they can't make money. There's no wonders why. And they still can't even correct their course.
No.
Because their numbers, their popular numbers, are just literally dropping. And they don't get it. The same people that are in control. They are so power driven. They are so goal oriented.
Yeah.
Other than, because they're not concerned about what you want, they're concerned about what they think you should want.
Yes.
And it's literally tearing apart the party.
Yeah.
And they still don't see it.
So listen to this report here. This was on Fox News with Laura Ingraham, and the caption here says, "Who's pulling the strings for Biden?" Right? Who was pulling the strings? Because we know it wasn't Joe Biden. And this is part, again, none of the Democrats are trying to come out and defend this. How do you defend it? They don't want to look like idiots, more idiots than they are.
Again, over the years, who was actually running the country? having a capable president is actually kind of important in our constitutional republic. It's the one person that's actually elected by the whole country. And so when the president signs something, whether it's a bill or a treaty or a letter, he is speaking on behalf of the American people. Clearly, Joe Biden's decline in his inability to do those things was on full display. You've had whistleblowers come forward saying he couldn't even find the bathroom in the Oval Office. So this was, I think, in my view, a scandal bigger than Watergate. And so in addition to just looking backwards and trying to figure out who was actually running the country, these left-wing radicals who opened up our borders and caused inflation and had a wandering foreign policy, what do we do about it moving forward? How can you have a mechanism actually that would address this? And I've said often that Joe Biden is the worst president this side of Woodrow Wilson. Ironically, you had the same problem 100 years ago with Woodrow Wilson where he was incapacitated and his wife was running the government. That's probably what was happening here too. So this is going to continue, Laura. We're going to continue. We're going to seek documents. One thing that came out of today, we're going to seek documents from the archivist. They're supposed to keep a paper trail of when he actually authorized the Autopen. We'll see if they actually did that or not.
So if they find out that these people, these interns or what have you, these staff members were just taking it upon themselves, oh, it's fine, do this, it's fine, do this, what's going to happen to them? What's going to happen? If you listen to Chuck Schumer, I like to say Shucky Ducky Schumer. If you listen to Chuck Schumer, if you listen to Nancy Pelosi, if you listen to Hakeem Jeffries, when they bring up anything about Joe Biden in the past 4 years, you know what they say? Look, we need to move forward. I'm just thinking about moving forward. We need to move forward. We just need to move forward. They don't want to talk about what just happened. For example, let's say the past 4 years, they were robbing banks across the country. They got caught after 4 years, and they were like, well, you know what? That's in the past. Let's just move forward. We can't be held responsible for what we did the past 4 years. That's how they're approaching this. Like they've been robbing the banks for past 4 years, which they actually have. They've been robbing the American people. And it didn't start just the past 4 years. But we're talking about the past 4 years with this Autopen and everything else that came to the surface, that came to the light. And now they're acting like they're all innocent in it all. Like they had no idea. So how come they're not showing up and defending it? Now, they've gone on these different socialist media networks and they've constantly said, well, look, there's not anything out of the ordinary for the Autopen to be used. 100%? That is highly questionable. Highly questionable. This is our country we're talking about. We're talking about the United States of America. When I used to live outside of America and people would look at the American flag and they would say, oh my goodness, I want to live there, the land of the free, the home of the brave, right? They would look at the flag because even when I was a kid, I used to think of the United States of America. When I lived in Germany, my dad was in the army. I was an army brat. I used to look at the America as that beacon of light in the world. And as a kid, naively thinking here, okay, I'm being honest with full transparency here. I used to think America had it all together. I used to think that all of these politicians on Capitol Hill, they were the brightest. They were the best. They were looking out for all of us. I used to think that when I was a kid. And I guarantee there are adults today that when they look at these stinking politicians up on Capitol Hill, in their minds, they think that these people are the best of us. And they're radical. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying is true. Does anybody ever talk about this? Because you look at these people and they try to act like they're kings and queens. Like, I'm better than everybody else. And I am a senator. I'm a House representative. I'm a congressperson. You need to listen to me because I know what's best. And see, a lot of them, they go to law school. They go to 4-year colleges. They go and get the doctorate. They get their master's and they become politicians. And they say, we're smart. I got all this schooling. I'm smart. I went to Harvard. But yet our federal government is so jacked up with all of these smart people on Capitol Hill. Help me understand that one. Help me understand. They're so smart, so bright. And they're on Capitol Hill. They're the ones on Capitol Hill. But we're supposed to trust and believe that they got it all together, like they know what's best. Like, let me show you an example of one of these on Capitol Hill that want people, and they want people to believe that this person has it all together. Has it all together. I mean, look, bag of rocks has more common sense. A bag of rocks. Seriously.
This idea that we don't care how many people get hurt. We don't care how we prostitute our service members, you know, thinking that you have your own special little army that's for you. I mean, it is sick. It is really sick. And anybody that supports it is also sick. And so, you know, we've got a mental health crisis in this country because
we have a mental health crisis in this country. Shannon, wasn't there just a report that just came out like last week or the week before talking about the mental health crisis in this country and who was actually suffering from it the most? Wasn't there a report that just came out about that?
Wow, that is such a good point. Yeah, it was Democrats.
Oh, yeah, the Democrats.
Democrats. But she twisted. She said, look, you have to listen to this. This is just insane. I'm gonna play the rest of it. This is one reason why these people keep losing support, because they don't deal in reality.
Yeah.
It is sick. It is really sick. And anybody that supports it is also sick. And so, you know, we've got a mental health crisis in this country because everyone, no matter how you affiliate yourself, should be against Trump, period. This is not partisan for me.
Wow.
Like, I would give anything to have, sad to say, George Bush. Give me any regular Republican nowadays.
A regular Republican? She wants to establish a Republican like George Bush because George Bush is anti-Trump. George Bush is anti-MAGA. He really is.
She just put my point.
Yeah.
They want you to believe how they feel like you should believe.
Yeah. Let me tell you what you should think.
Not the opposite. Not like she's representing us.
And that's what I was saying a second ago, how these people go up on Capitol Hill like, we know what's best for you. We're the smart ones. We're the ones that know how to make things happen in the country.
Why she's wearing her $5,000 outfit and has become a millionaire in just 2 years.
And I would be happy, but right now we have someone who does not care, and he is being enabled by the fact that there are, you know, people that follow him and they pump him up, as well as the people that are surrounding him. And so, you know, my heart breaks for service members, people that signed up to protect democracy and freedom, not only here, but abroad, and were willing to risk their lives. And now literally the very thing that they signed up to fight against is now their commander-in-chief.
I didn't fight against what President Trump was doing in his first term. Now, granted, when President Trump, before he became a politician, I didn't even pay attention to Trump. I know he did The Apprentice. I thought he was mean. I thought he was arrogant, just to be honest with you. But then when he was running in 2016, I said, look, let me do myself a service and just sit down for a second and listen to see what this man is about. And then when I realized that he was all about America, he was all about Americans prospering, I was like, then I started learning more about President Trump. And then I realized his attitude and why he had his attitude. And come to find out, he's been the same ever since. They can't stand the fact because he is putting America first. You can get her off the screen. I know everyone's tired of looking at it.
Thank you so much. She's nothing but a showgirl. They dress her up, make her look pretty, and then she goes out there and spews nonsense, and then they give her more money to be out there.
Is she pretty? Because she has an ugly spirit.
She's willing to spew the nonsense. And that's what, these are all willful idiots in the grand scheme of trying to get rid of Trump. They have no real plan for the American people. Her whole plan is now, she's telling half of America, over half of America actually voted for Trump, that they're mentally ill. and we're supposed to somehow turn around and support
And
her.
these are the same people that's struggling on what a woman is. They're struggling with it.
Talk about mentally ill.
Yeah, and they're struggling with it. Do you know what a woman is? It's not even a trick question, but they're struggling with that alone. After all of these years of man being on the planet, they're struggling on what a woman is. I don't get it, other than the mental illness. Now, look, just to be clear, I'm not a doctor, not a physician, don't claim to be one, and not trying to be one. Okay, got to put that disclaimer out there. They're the ones talking, they're the ones saying that they don't know what one is. They're the ones that saying that they can't say what one is, not me. Okay, I'm not, look, if they want to believe in the la-la land and the la-la world, I'm not going to stop them. But you can't force me to join in with them. I'm not going to do it. People have been banned, blocked, and censored and everything else because you won't go along with the insanity. Why do I have to play along? I don't want to play. I don't want to play. If you want to play, then by all means go play. I'm not going to play. Don't look at me because I'm not playing. I don't want to play. But talking about the Democrats, listen to this. This young man, if you want to call me young man, he goes on with Jesse Waters. I don't know his name. And to be honest with you, I've never even seen him before. But Jesse Waters is talking to him. And Jesse Waters is asking him
His name
about
is Dan Terratine.
Dan Terratine.
He's a Democrat strategist.
Okay. So Jesse Waters is talking to him, and he straight up says the reason why the Democrats are doing what they're doing, because they have nothing to stand on. And I'm like, he's actually saying the quiet part out loud?
You guys are like goading Trump to shoot Americans in the street. Why is that?
Well, I think part of the problem is we don't have an agenda, right?
They don't have an agenda. They don't have nothing. What else do we do? Oh, Trump. You know what? They're trying to become victims. Oh my goodness, look what Trump did to me. Oh, look what he did to me. And Trump is at the White House and they're in comedy for, oh, look what he did to me. This is because of Trump.
Now, and winning campaigns focus on the real lives of real people with effective leaders and something positive to say. And we have none of the above. I think what's so frustrating is Kamala Harris tried this playbook. She tried calling him a dictator. She threw everything she could. She did the rally at the Ellipse to try to remind people of January 6th. And voters said, and for my life, I'm worried about the economy. I'm worried about immigration. We don't want to talk about those things. The immigration rallies, I mean, the protests we had, you had some people protesting that ICE shouldn't exist. Some people protesting that he took over the National Guard. Some people protesting that we're being too rough on the bad hombres, right? But no one was proposing ideas to solve the problems that people care about. You just talked about Donald Trump's thing at McDonald's. This last week, we should be having town halls with local ag workers and people in hospitality. We should be having rallies with local hospitals in rural areas. Instead, Chuck Schumer yesterday has a big press conference on abortion.
This is the reason why I read this in the beginning. That right there. This whole thing, the Democrats, and for those of you who asked me what it is about, this is about the DNC currently having financial challenges right now. They look like they're going to have to borrow money just to pay some of their bills. They're going to have to borrow money because people are no longer donating to the Democrat Party. No, they're not donating to them. And because of this, oh, Trump's a dictator. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. Oh, he's a dictator. Oh, he's a criminal. He's a criminal. He's a criminal. They think that you're stupid. They really do. The Democrat Party, they believe that the people in this country are just right down stupid. And these people running for political office to become a Democrat, they think the same thing about you while you're voting for them. And every 2 to 4 years, they come out and they tickle people's ears trying to convince them to vote for them. And then when they get in office, it's not about you anymore. It's about the illegal criminal. It's about all of this wokeism. It's about everything evil under the sun. It has nothing to do with you any longer. And just like good Democrats constantly being deceived. They run right back up there and they support the same party that's not helping them. And I think now, out of all of these years with the Democrat Party existing, I'm so hoping that this is the nail in the coffin for the Democrat Party. I really do. They're doubling down on all the insanity. They're still telling people that Trump's a dictator. And, you know, they're all up. And what's I find interesting, and if I can touch on this one more time, I find interesting is that you have people on both the left and the right joining sides against Israel. When I saw that when let me give you an example. When I saw that Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, Adam Kissinger, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, when they were all saying that we need to support Ukraine, I started questioning what's going on here. I started questioning because anytime you have these radical leftist lunatics out there screaming that we got to do X, Y, Z, I encourage everybody to take one step back and look at the big picture. But they're not doing that when it comes to Israel. You have all of these same radical leftist lunatics, all of them saying, hate Israel, hate Israel, hate Israel, hate Israel. And now you got some people on the right because of, I don't know what it is, other than that they're complying to what the evilness of this world has for them. I don't know what it is. And people got upset with me, especially yesterday when I was talking about this. People got upset with me because I said, you know what, even today, what President Trump is doing, I voted for this. You see my shirt? I voted for this. I voted for this. Do I think President Trump is a perfect man? Absolutely not. Do you? And I see these people online, and I know a lot of these people, and I have respect for a lot of these people. And they're so angry right now about what's happening in Israel. They're so angry at what's happening in Iran. And what I don't understand, and maybe y'all can help me out in the chat, because I have the chat right here, I have a display right thing, a monitor right here, so I can see some of you chatting. Maybe y'all can help me. People are acting as if Iran is just innocent. Like Iran didn't have nothing to do with the Houthis attacking all these ships. Iran didn't have nothing to do with Hezbollah. Had nothing to do with Hamas. They're acting like Iran had nothing to do with it. They're acting like Iran has never said death to America. They're acting like Iran has never said that as soon as they get the opportunity to destroy or hit America, they're going to. They're acting like that's never happened. So what is it? And then some people go and they talk about, well, this current Israeli government is the Satan of synagogue, the Satan of synagogue. And I'm like, what? And then sometimes when I get the opportunity to talk directly to people, I send them this little video. And I've encouraged people to go out there and look up this video. And you might be able to see it on Google. And all you have to do is just type in white people kissing the boots of black Israelites. Type that in. White people kissing the boots of black Israelites. And then just go look at the images. And these are people that call themselves Jewish people. They say that they're the true Israelites. But yet they have white people kissing their boots. So how is that not the synagogue of Satan? Help me out. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? That's not cool at all. I don't care. There's no man, I don't care what your complexion is, should go before another man and kiss the ring or kiss the boots. Should never happen. But yet, if you type that in, you will actually see white people kissing their boots. That is the synagogue of Satan. Okay? I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. But people get upset with me for bringing that up. And a lot of people never even know that's been happening. And then on top of that, it's something I was talking to my producer last night about. That, did you know that in Israel, majority of the people in Israel are atheists? I know that. I've known this for years now. Majority of the people in Israel are atheists. So these people in Israel, they're not fighting because of their religious beliefs, because they don't have any other than atheism. And that is a religious cult. Regardless of what people say, it is a religious cult. That's the only one they have. They don't have one. They don't believe in God. So ultimately, what it really comes down to, they're not fighting because of their beliefs in God. They're fighting for survival. There's a big difference. There's this guy that I've known for years, and he's on X, and he's straight up atheist. And I've had conversations with him, and I'm following him, and he's following me. I like the conversations, right? He's total atheist. And he's completely against Israel. Most people that are atheists, they are against Israel. That's probably why Chuck Schumer is against Israel himself, being Jewish. But I've noticed that these atheists that are against Israel, and I'm like, do you even know that they're atheists? Majority of the country is atheists. And you know why they're atheists? See, I've had conversations with Jewish people from Israel. Majority of them are atheists because they believe if we are truly the chosen people of God, then why is God allowing all of this to happen to us? And you know what my response is? Did you ever consider the reason why this is happening is because of that? Do you think the evil one doesn't exist? And come to find out, there's some that don't think it exists. I mean, just like they don't believe that God exists and they don't believe that Satan exists. But yet you see all of this wickedness in the world. I mean, where is that coming from? Y'all understand what I'm saying? And look, and to be clear, I don't think we should be involved in the war. I don't want to be involved in the war. Does that make sense to anybody? Because I know everything I just said, what I just said probably goes in one ear and out the other ear because people are probably upset what I just said. I don't think we should be in the war. With that said, Israel is an ally, regardless of what Will Johnson wants. And another thing that came to my attention, and I think I brought this up yesterday, is that in order for Israel to do any attacks, did you know that they had to get permission from the United States first? Did y'all know that? But you hear all these people out there that are so anti-Israel. Oh, anti-Israel. Israel, they control our government. If that were true, then Israel would not have to put up a single airplane. They would not have to shoot a single rocket. They could sit on their couches and get fat, and they could tell the United States of America, handle all of it for us. But that's not happening. So where are they getting it from? Come on. I hope that makes sense. But again, for some people, I just said what I just said and went out. Someone says, well, they rejected Christ. I just said more than half the country is atheist. Now, there are some Jewish people that believe in Christ. And see, a lot of people don't know that. There's Jewish people that are conservative. There's Jewish people, a lot of them, majority of them are liberal. Just like in the United States of America, the country is pretty much divided. Now, if the rest of the world look at the United States of America as Democrats, like, oh my goodness, the Democrats control of America. Can you imagine how they viewed America for the past 4 years? And you and I, we know that America is not like the Democrats want us to be. We're better than that. So not everybody in Israel is liberal. Not everybody's liberal. There are some conservatives, and there's Christians in Israel too. The only reason why I'm bringing it up because things are, I mean, my goodness, the Bible tells us in the last days that the world will come down on Israel. Imagine that, being part of the world coming down on Israel based on what the Bible says. And I know a lot of people that they don't even know what the Bible says. So they just, they've got this inner hatred. And I'm like, wow, we're better than this. We're better than this. For those of you that still like me and realize, and you want to help me to continue, Filter Dog, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much. Actually, Filter Dog says USAID gets defunded and the DNC is broke. Coincidence? Very, very, very good question, right? That's what I was asking earlier. Same thing with Act Blue. Act Blue got caught in the act, and they're under investigation right now. And now all of a sudden the DNC is like hurting. They're hurting like the rest of us now. And it's all because of what they did, right? It's because of what they've done to this country. But those of you that are not hurting and you're willing to help Will Johnson out because what they've done to me, see, they did it to themselves. The Democrats did it to themselves. They did it to me and they've done it to others. So if you want to help me, uniteamericafirst.com/donate. Right there, you can support me monthly for those of you can. Some people just do $5 a month, which I'm very appreciative. Or you're like, you know what? I can dig what he's saying. I'm going to help him out this one time. Right there, the different options. Right there. You know what they are. Or if you want to send me something in the mail, send me a blessing in the mail. Right there, my physical address. And I've kept every single envelope and letter. Sometimes people just put blessings in the envelope. I just keep the envelope. But thank you so much, everybody. Look, we need to pray. You and I, we are Americans, and I'm not your enemy. We are Americans, and I am not the enemy. I want to stand side by side with you for our country. And with all that said, and I am America First. My website says Unite America First. At the end of the day, I am America First. God bless everyone. Phone calls tomorrow. You can call me and you can tell me tomorrow, Will Johnson, you're wrong.